The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the hosts and not the host's past, present, or future employers. Hello, everybody. It's Brian, Mr. Lynn, Mr. Betcher for Breaking Down Security.
Yay.
Hey there.
See, I use Mr. Betcher last because he gets the "and" in the credits. So it's like, starring Brian Brake and, Mr. Betcher. And, so he gets the "and" at the end. It's a whole Hollywood thing. I didn't realize that when I watch movies, and you see the credits and you're like, why do they say with and introducing? And it's like, there's a whole thing having to do with that. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just thought winging it.
Well, you're watching a movie and you're like, well, wait a minute. I know LeVar Burton's in this. And it's like, oh, and LeVar Burton. And it's like, oh yeah, that's like,
probably
after all the
get paid.
Right. And it's like, after all the trash has been introduced, it's like, and by the way, it's LeVar Burton. And, on this one show, you may have heard of it called Roots. You might have heard of it. But yeah, it's like, and if it's a brand new actress or somebody or actor who's on the show, it'll be and introducing, whoever as blah. So yeah, there's a whole big formula for that. And movie theater posters are another one. If you've ever read the story about the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood and Eli Wallach. There was a whole big scrap about, who got top billing on that, and who showed up in bigger pieces on the poster, and all that shit. Yeah.
Well, for the book, Lee's name is first, right? And when it came out, we were talking back and forth and really racking our brains trying to figure out why he was first, and I wasn't, because it's not alphabetical order. Because alphabetical order, I'd be first.
Right.
So we're like, all right, well, did they put him first because did we put it on paperwork somewhere with his name first? Or, do they think it'll sell better because he's a dude? All this stuff was going through our heads. And then we asked, and I guess it was just an intern.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. It's like on the cast of E.T., they say, introducing Drew Barrymore.
Right, 100%. Because I think that was one of her first acting gigs or whatever, where she got some billing or whatever. But yeah, I had no idea that was a thing until it's one of those 3 a.m. searches on Wikipedia when I should be in bed, and it's like, oh, well, that's why that's a thing. So there you go. There you go. I always mix it up on the Apple iTunes thing when it's telling you, who was on the podcast. So sometimes I've started putting the guest on, but then I'll put Amanda, Mr. Betcher and myself or whatever. And then depending on the type of spam we get, I know who the bot was, because the bots, they scrape the authors. So it'll be like, hey, I know,
email address to me.
Right. Yeah. It's like, hey, person we just had on the show. And I was like, okay. They've scraped our podcast. Yeah. So, but anyway, so, sorry y'all had to hear that. We're just talking.
We're now a random information podcast.
You'd be surprised what passes for information out there. Anyway, so thank you both for coming on. I appreciate it. I know Miss Berlin, we're a little late this week because Miss Berlin found out quite late that her workshop is on at DEF CON.
Something's happening.
Oh,
I don't know exactly what yet.
Something's happening, last night's Taco Bell, or
you guys will get it together.
No. Splunk got us a suite at DEF CON.
Okay.
For a wellness room.
Oh, very nice.
Now you have as much information as I
do.
Oh. So stay tuned, I guess, for more information. Being that DEF CON a week away, gonna be a great week.
Awkward pause. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, and I will be interested in seeing how many people actually come to Vegas. I mean, it was better, and then it was like Clark County's like, oh, we welcome all of DEF CON Black Hat and the Delta variant, and it's like, oh, great. Yeah.
That's why I'm glad we have Airbnb, so I can be away from people for
very nice.
Very
nice. please mask up because I don't want you getting ill, even if you've been vaccinated. So, it's not you I'm worried about. It's all the other idiots out there. That's what I tell my wife when she's driving. So it's not you I worry about driving. It's all them idiots out there. That's the unknowns. So. Anyway, we got some news this week. We have an interview next week, which is great, which is going to come on the heels of some events that are going on at Black Hat and DEF CON. Let me double check. I want to get the Slack right here. We're going to have somebody from Black Girls Hack. They're doing an event there, I think, at DEF CON and Black Hat. We're going to have one of the organizers of that Slack channel and that group and that 501 on to talk about some social engineering stuff if everything goes to plan. So there you go. I have already jinxed it. So there you go. All right. So let's see this week. So I guess I want to work on this in aggregate. Is it just me or are there a lot more vulnerabilities out these days?
There seems to be a lot lately.
And it's just like bam, 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 starting with July 4th with the Kaseya stuff. And then it was like, oh shit, here's Print Nightmare. And it's like, oh, here's Print Nightmare redo because the patches didn't work. And then it's like,
I mean, everyone was complaining about the lack of information security professionals we have. Now we have more and now they're finding more stuff.
Are they finding
back
more
in
stuff?
my day when there was a CVE,
Uh-oh.
we were like, oh crap, this is getting close to 4 digits.
Right.
And now look at this one.
Right.
CVE 2021, 33,764.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
Okay. So to be fair, I think they changed the numbering scheme a little while ago, not just because it's like, that's how many patches there were, but I think they're taking into account more software. They're like including a lot more things because, MITRE didn't have enough shit to do. So they wanted to add more stuff. But I do remember those days where we were like, oh yeah, we're in 7,000 and it's in September. Are we going to make it to 10K? And then it's like, oh, well, we already had 20,000 vulnerabilities as of February 1st. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do remember when they added a 5th number to the CVE docs or whatever for the RFCs on that. But it just seems like I don't know, ever since like the month of July is like, bam, 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 bam. You got Kaseya stuff. You got Print Nightmare. HiveNightmare now is a thing. You've got a System D vulnerability. I mean, we've got all this shit at 13 O days this year for Apple. So don't use Apple people be all smug with your shit. There's another O day out 13. For that. Sorry?
But it's only 13.
It's only 13, right?
Like since the beginning of the year, not this month.
Yeah. Yeah. And as if that isn't bad enough, there's a Jira vulnerability as well. So if you are using any Atlassian tools, there you go, your monthly, bleeping computer for that. So, but yeah. And then Serious Sam and then the HiveNightmare you just told me about just now, Ms. Berlin. I didn't even realize. So shout out to Gossie the dog, who's now being flagged on the GitHub site as being an unsafe website by Edge browsers. So that was pretty interesting.
Yes, I mean this month has been crazy for detection work because we're actually trying to figure out how to prioritize what research and detections to put out, which I never thought I would need to do. But because in the beginning we had like massive, priority list, right? Like creating domain admins and Mimi cats and like all the easy ones that you want to detect. But now we're getting to the point where we have to prioritize what we're working on, and stuff like that gets shoved to the top of the pile all the time.
That's crazy.
Noticed that a lot of IT people, they'll patch Windows every month. They'll patch the major stuff like the databases and things, but they don't even pay attention to Office or .NET or right. Things like you have to have, everybody's got them if they have Windows systems, but they haven't been patched in years. And it might be worth it to go see, when was the last time you guys patched .NET or,
some kind of
Microsoft Azure, whatever.
Yep. So, I mean, all of your software should be patched. Obviously you're doing your best to triage what you can. And once you've gotten your Windows box patched and you're like, yay, we're done. And no, we're not. And
also one of my pet peeves regarding all of these CVs and all of the advice and everything coming out, like those people that are running around trying to patch everything and make sure like their environments are secure. How do they know for sure? I mean, they know the patch from the vendor's going to work, right? But as far as like remediation instruction, you hear a bunch of different stuff, right? Especially for the print nightmare. That was the one that just like got me up on my soapbox for a while, because you had everybody saying delete the print spooler across your across your enterprise. Like, wait a minute.
So that I mean, delete your print spooler. I mean, if you're under active attack, that would be a valid way of deterring the attack.
Sure.
Absolutely. No, I completely understand your thing. It's like uninstall Java because there's a badly awful bug. Well, we'll just uninstall Java. Yeah, well, that doesn't work for everybody. You're correct that, you delete the print spooler, your boss is not going to be able to print. Then he's going to be pissed because he can't print his Sudoku out or whatever while he's going to the bathroom or whatever. And there's other things too. Like I understand the print spooler works to print as PDF in browsers. So you won't even be able to do a print as PDF if you're downloading or printing anything to PDF in Windows. Yes, that is not a valid.
Yeah. So what happens with Print Nightmare or any other thing that comes out, and how many people are going to take that as solid advice without, testing? Right. We're like, oh, they said I should run this script everywhere and do it and just break all your operations. Like, hopefully there's more in place, but I know from experience that there isn't always.
Yeah.
It's like preventing PowerShell throughout the environment.
Yeah.
Right. So, yep. Ms. Berlin, you said you were triaging what needs to be researched. I don't want to pull we don't have to pull this particular curtain back if there's, any kind of specific information there that you can't let out, but what does that look like? How are you triaging that? Because I mean, we triage vulnerabilities, we triage bugs, we triage patches. Now you're triaging the information that you're sending out to your customers based on what?
So the way I have it prior, because this is like now part of my job as a lead detection engineer, that I get to make up the priority that I think it should be. So have you ever seen, it's like the priority like matrix thing? I will find it really quick, so I don't call it just a matrix thing. But it's basically like high, a lot of work, but a lot of reward, and then a lot of work, but not much reward, not much work and a lot of reward, no work and no reward.
Okay.
So breaking up stuff into that. And so priority one would be things that we already are working on integrations with. So like Cisco AMP, right? That's on our queue 2, 3, something like that, to be a new integration for Lumira. And so that's priority one for right now, until you get something like Print Nightmare that bumps that down. So like any remote code execution, high impact, high visibility, or current things that we're working on for strategic goals is all number one. And then number 2 is like other research that we think is important. Like we're using Vector and tying everything back to MITRE when we can, and then doing like operational detections is like priority 3.
Okay. Well, I guess y'all dodged a bullet with the whole Kaseya thing. There were a lot of managed service providers that were hit by that. So you said that you're using various matrices. Is this like an impact versus effort thing? So it's like, maximum impact with little effort is like, yes, we're going to do that now. It's like, delete all your DCs off your network, a lot of impact, very little effort, just power them mothers down or whatever. No, I'm just kidding.
action priority matrix.
Yeah.
So there's quick wins, which is high impact and low effort. Major projects, which is high impact and high effort.
Yep.
Fill-ins, which is low impact and low effort. And thankless tasks, which sometimes seems like it's all of them. Low impact.
So you're looking at the same site that I just found about 15 seconds ago. So
okay,
yeah,
I can put
the mind tools or whatever.
Productplan.com is what.
Oh, okay.
What I have, but
so yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that, companies that, there we go. That's the one I put in there. Oh, that'll work too. Product plan. These are very much project management type things, matrices. So, if you're working on time management or whatever, you want to make the best use of your time for your various projects. You're going to look at the ones that are going to give you the most impact, the most important to the org, et cetera. But it also works in security, obviously, there. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably works in most places for a lot of things. What we found is we just had this ever-growing list of detections that we were just trudging our way through. And now we're going to start doing it like in agile sprints. So yay.
Very nice. Have you ever thought about getting your certified agile scrum manager type thing?
No, I've never.
The test is really hard. It's you pretty much take the class and you pass.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the only problem is it costs like $4,000 for a certified scrum master, or another $4,000 for product owner. But it's pretty much one of those things. If you take the class, you pass, because you can't, it's an open book, open note test. And it's not bad.
Like Stanford.
It's like Stanford. Exactly. Like Stanford, but yeah. So, okay. So I know we're supposed to be talking about this news, but what you said made me ask another question. It seems like there should be a third Virtus coming off of that impact versus effort. It's maybe how important this is to your customer.
Yeah.
Because if you're working with a company of 15,000 people and they're a major, I don't know, Newegg, for instance, your Newegg is one of your customers, and they have a lot of Linux boxes on their network, and Print Nightmare comes out and you're like, we don't need to worry about that one. But the system debug, holy shit, we need to fix that one immediately, because that's RCE inside of systemd causing a denial of service. That will cause a major issue for Newegg or whatever.
That kind of falls into the, which one would it be? That's like fill-ins almost. I know it says low impact, but
right.
That's also stuff that's like definitely varying, I think.
Right.
Because another, like we have, I don't even know how many at this point, like 100 or 200 customers, and trying, like, obviously 99% of them have Windows.
Okay.
Right? A lot of the detectors are going to be Windows based.
Right.
All of them have firewalls, so you can do firewall detections all day long. Not all of them have Veeam or like CrowdStrike, something, right? So it's hard to prioritize. You kind of get the base layer of stuff done, right? But then, like the really super advanced stuff, you have to get to eventually.
Right. I can understand why. Yeah, I can understand why you would want to collect those kinds of metrics, because if you know a certain technology is being used across your user base, you would want to make, that would be adding to the formula of what is a high impact issue. If it's a Cisco bug, 85% of your customers use Cisco. Fortinet, okay, well 10% of our customers use Fortinet. Maybe we don't have to worry about Fortinet so much, but it's badly pre-auth, RCE kind of stuff. Well, maybe, okay, that's kind of a bigger issue. My thing was like, what happens if that one user with Fortinet is your biggest customer, and it's like, how much is that weighted? I'm just thinking in terms of, I
mean, it's also kind of weighted for like proof of concept customers too, right?
Right.
If you have a really big contract on the line, are you going to be like, oh, I will definitely make that detection for you right now?
Right. Yeah, it's Bob from Bob's Towing again, our biggest customer. He wants this. Okay, Yavo, got it.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I think we've mentioned the shit, what I was talking about? Oh, the system debug. Yeah, that one's not fun either. There's a ton of stuff out there with regards to you love it, you hate it, you have to use it anyway. But it enables attackers to misuse alloca function in a way that would result in memory corruption. This in turn allows a hacker to crash system D and hence the entire operating system. Practically speaking, this can be done by a local attacker mounting a file system with a very long path. You believe that? So user,
still it has to be, it's not remotely. It's not.
Yes. Right. And I think that goes back to some of what you were talking about. You have to find good, usable, actionable information from someone that isn't the US government, because they're behind, on how to detect against these things or find these things. So yeah, that's an interesting problem.
Do it all in the lab.
Yeah. Yeah, they say there's no way to remedy the system D issue. It's not present in all Linux distros. You will find it in Debian 10 and Ubuntu and Mint. I think I put a link in the show notes also that Red Hat has fixed it. But the other thing I was thinking about was, what is your Kubernetes? Does your Kubernetes have a system D, or, is the system that your Kubernetes running in system D? Because if you've got several hundred Kubernetes or Docker instances, what makes that run? So systemd replaced the init scripts from old timey days. So if you can crash your entire Kubernetes environment because you haven't, done the needful and separated the load across, multiple systems, you might be shit out of luck there. Now, if you're using something like Alpine, I don't think Alpine uses systemd or dev1 or whatever the non-systemd version is. But a lot of these popular Linux systems use systemd. So yeah. Patch your systemd, please, if you care. But yeah, like Ms. Berlin said, you have to be a local user on the box anyway. But I would argue, I did make that joke on Twitter. It was like, nobody is ever a local user on a system. They're always root anyway, or they've already set up their sudo. They've already set up their sudo to be no pass WD anyway. So,
don't judge how I run my Linux boxes.
Oh gods. Yeah. There's better things to do with the box once you've gotten a user on the system, because everybody's running as root anyway.
Yeah.
Or can sudo without a password. So It's all good. Yeah.
I mean, doing that with a password is such a pain.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So yeah. Let me see. Maybe something that isn't patch related. Mr. Betcher, how are you with malvertising? Are y'all still using Flash updates at your workplace? You still using Flash in some ways?
Oh yeah, Flash. Even the the best place to use Flash is on the security training videos that every employee has to take.
Yes.
It's going to take a few years for them training videos. It's going to take a few years for those training videos to go away that run on Flash or whatever. So yeah. So this was this was a CrowdStrike blog post for a named called Shlayer, Shlayer malvertising campaign using Flash update disguises. It was discovered in 2018, but it's being constantly updated. So.
You need to update your Flash update hack.
That's right. Right. Yeah. I think we're going to deal with Flash for years to come still, because there's going to be orgs that still have to use that stuff. So they're running around with unpatched machines or, buggy code that, I think my daughter was still using Flash on her Chromebook or whatever, because it was a requirement for her educational stuff.
Chromebook supported.
You know what? Now that you mention it, maybe they don't. What was that she was using?
Maybe it's Shockwave.
Oh God.
Oh,
is that a thing?
Silverlight. Yeah, Silverlight. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah, Cold Fusion.
Yeah.
That's still around, dude.
It is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I say we go back to Shockwave.
Yeah, Shockwave. Yeah, nobody's using that. So, Yeah.
It ought to be safe because no one's using it.
That's right. That's right. Print Nightmare. Print Nightmare. It's interesting that all these vulnerabilities have come out like this. Print Nightmare, the print subsystem is what, about 25, 30 years old,
I say people just stop printing altogether.
I have done.
They can delete all their print spoolers. Let's save the planet.
Now, look, we're never going to get sponsored by Xerox at this point because they're like, we heard what you said. Great. The print lobby is going to be coming to us. Please use our paper and not printers. HP is going to, go bankrupt because nobody's buying ink anymore. Each cartridge costs $1 million. It's just interesting because this seems like there's somebody decided to go look at some of the oldest parts of Windows, being the print subsystem in this case. It's like, oh, well, let's go see what we can poke around with over here or whatever.
What other old parts of Windows should people look at? Like, there's still a fax service, isn't there?
There is a fax service. There is a fax, all the dial-up modem stuff, maybe you could simulate a modem. DCOM, I think some of the DCOM stuff is still around because that's legacy Windows or legacy Office stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
All just the 32,
right? All the 32-bit. Yeah. I'm sure there's some 16-bit binaries and stuff that are still left over. So, oh yeah. Yeah, they gotta. They just keep piling more shit on top of that code base. So, but
I only install Windows 3.1.
Then you'll never get hacked. No one knows how to use it.
Probably pretty secure. I bet Print Nightmare was not added as part of a patch. So I think you're okay. Windows for Workgroups. Yeah. I bet there's still dial-up modems.
My operating system is smaller than my Chrome browser.
Well, didn't somebody run Windows 95 in a browser one time, or Windows 98, something like that? You could run that. Yeah, I remember running that off of.
I had to install 2008 R2 the other day, and it was painful. Like I forgot. That's like what I'm certified in. I couldn't remember how to use it.
Isn't that end of life?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was lab stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Apparently, people who ran the update on 13 July on your domain controllers. Now, okay, so I would argue that you could delete the print spooler off your domain controllers. There's no reason you should be doing anything on your on your DCs.
My point is, but what if you are and you can't remove it? You should make sure that you're not using it. Sure, maybe like not worst idea ever. Well, very, very bad idea. But if it's being used in something that you can't change, you can't just blanket say you can definitely remove it off all your DCs.
Right.
Well,
could you just disable it and see who complains?
Sure.
Okay. All right, cool.
Or look at the logs. Like,
that's too hard. I'll just delete it. It's fine.
Whatever.
We don't have logs on our DCs anyway. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody logs shit on our DCs.
Like, no, you should not be running print services from your DCs, but
I would argue there's a lot. Yeah, see, I would argue there's a lot on your DC that is running that shouldn't be running.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's worth some investigation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially those DCs that are connected directly to the internet that have the print spooler running, which I think is what prompted the whole Print Nightmare thing to start. Because, yeah, and I know. Yeah. If it's on the internet, somebody's put a service out there for it. So, So it's interesting how this failed this time. I mean, this is a little more specific. They're saying after 13 July, DCs in your environment are not compliant with section 3.2.1 of RFC 4556 spec, might fail to print when using smart card authentication. So that's a really specific. Somebody who clicked on that, was that you, Ms. Berlin? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to see what RFC was for. Public key cryptography for initial authentication in Kerberos.
Oh.
PK in it.
Right. Okay. Spec might fail to print when using a smart. Right. So anybody who uses a smart card to authenticate to your domain controllers might not be able to print. I'm strangely okay with that one. We'll call that a mulligan.
I wonder how many people that affects.
Right.
Just one of those things that I wish I knew.
Right. The other thing is, I thought I saw on Twitter that somebody had mentioned that, some of these HiveNightmare vulnerabilities or anything dealing with like NTLM v1 or whatever, might also be affected by Samba. So if you're in a Linux environment and using Samba, maybe as a backup AD or using it to be an authenticator for your Linux servers, you might want to look into checking to make sure your Samba servers are also patched as well, because Samba does try its best to be like you can use it as an AD server. So when you see things like dealing with NTLM or print subsystems or whatever, might want to double check and make sure that they're not sharing that code, because it's kind of interesting. Oh, hey, did y'all see Windows came out, or Microsoft came out with a Linux distribution?
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm off script.
That sounds like a terrible
Windows subsystem for Linux?
No. Came out 2 days ago. There's a link. I'll put it in the show notes as well. It's called CBL-Mariner, is Microsoft's internal tool to create Linux distributions meant to power Microsoft's own cloud infrastructure. So leveraging RPM package manager, CBL Mariner build system is able to generate a set of required packages based on a spec file. These packages can then be assembled into an installable image. CBL Mariner also uses RPM OS tree to support an image-based update model that can be used for servicing and rollback in an atomic way. So they've started the process to build their own Linux, which I actually thought Windows 11 was going to do. I expected Windows 11 or upcoming versions to have a completely POSIX kernel where they could run Linux if you wanted to, or Microsoft Linux or whatever. So yeah, there's a link in the show notes. Winix. Well, they already had Lindows. They can't use that one. They may be able to use that one. I don't know if they sued that company successfully. What was that?
I hate all of it.
Why do you hate all of it?
Just the naming and the fact that they have their own Linux system. I don't know. It's just
Well, to be fair, more like Linux runs on Azure.
Just doesn't go.
I don't know. A lot of people run Linux in Azure, and Microsoft's like all in on that now. It's not the Steve Ballmer days, Yeah. So they say that CBL Mariner in some ways is related to the Photon OS project and to Fedora, both of which leverages a number of spec files. CBL Mariner is mostly licensed under MIT, which is great. MIT is the BSD 2-clause license. So it's pretty much do whatever the hell you want with it. We don't care. Just give us attribution. So it's like, oh, Microsoft created this. We're going to do whatever the hell we want. They can even package it and put it in a product that you can sell.
Right.
So 2-clause BSD is one of the best ones. It says with Linux contributions licensed under GPL2, which is again very, very permissive. A lot of open source fans aren't a fan of GPL2, I think. So I mean, that's probably the most friendly open source license you're going to find for something like Linux these days, if you're not under GPL3 or the AGPL, Adobe or Apache GPL license or whatever. So short of using the actual BSD licenses that the BSDs use. So anywho, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm actually.
So you have a Linux O day and a Windows O day, I guess you just have to patch once.
It's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because what happens if you're using Windows subsystem for Linux on your Windows box and there's a vulnerability in system D? You know, is that running in a Hyper-V? Is that running in a specific VM instance? Is that going to allow you to jump out of whatever container that Linux is in to infect your Windows 10 or 11 box?
Is that going to come out on Patch Tuesday, or do you gotta,
Yeah.
Where is that patch?
Yeah. Yeah, that's everything's starting to meld and blend and get kind of ugly and complicated sometimes. So,
It's an evil witch's brew of vulnerabilities now.
Not all witches are evil.
Well, hence I said evil.
Right. Well, to be fair, Alphabet wasn't even evil.
I made that
either.
distinction.
Right. That's good. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. Jira. Let's do Jira and then we'll just call it a day. So Atlassian asked customers to patch critical Jira vulnerability, which, there you go. Atlassian's prompting enterprise customers patch vulnerability in versions of its Jira data center and service management data center products. Okay. Well, it's not awful then. It's not like the ticketing system, maybe. So, let me see. Unrestricted access to RMI ports.
Missing authentication.
Right. Yeah. RMI refers to remote method invocation, a concept in Java. Oh, yes. RMI. Like yes. Yep. RPC in object-oriented programming languages. RMI lets programmers invoke methods present in remote objects, such as those present within an application running on a shared network, right from their application as they would run a local method or procedure. Sounds like an API. Yeah. Okay. RMI APIs. Yep. There you go. Yeah. Awesome. So if you've got RMI ports on port 40,001 and 40,011, that's where RMI runs. Remote attackers can connect these ports without any auth or execute arbitrary code of their choice in Jira via object deserialization. Woo! Yes. So yeah, the article has vulnerable versions, anything before 8.5.16.
Like if you're running your own on-prem Jira.
Oh God, yeah. I would hope I would hope Jira and Atlassian for the hosted stuff's already been patched. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it doesn't affect the cloud.
Right. Oh yeah, there you go. Does not non-data center instances. So if you're rolling your own Jira, make sure you're gonna have a time for that. Or just make sure that you don't have your Jira connected to the internet directly. So that's always a good thing. People on Shodan are scanning for port 40,001 and 40,011.
Literally everything.
Yep. Good times.
One other thing I want to mention before we end.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Cassia or Acacia?
I've heard it called Kaseya.
Kaseya. Okay.
The emphasis is on the different syllable there. So
okay.
Yeah.
They definitely paid that ransom, right?
Oh, yeah, they paid the ransom, but then I heard that
they could not
extortion
this time.
Right. Extortion is a bad word, but they were apparently making companies that had been affected by the Kaseya breach sign an NDA before they could get the key. I'd read that on Twitter and people were like, well, that's tantamount to like extortion. If you don't want to sign the NDA, do they give you the key anyway? So is your shit still ransomware if you don't sign the NDA?
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, they definitely paid that ransom to get that key.
Yeah, of course they did. They probably paid the $70 million for the campaign key. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is though, Kaseya is such a large piece of software that I didn't actually know about until it got hacked. So, how many other pieces of hardware and software? I knew about SolarWinds when SolarWinds came out. I was like, holy shit! When I heard of Kaseya, I was like,
yeah. Well, didn't we do a podcast on this code that was in like half or 3/4 of every router out there? You remember?
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
Like the effect. Yeah.
Okay.
And nobody had ever heard of it, but
Right.
you know, it had some vulnerability, and
Yes.
you basically had to call your manufacturer to see if they actually had that bit of code in there. It was
an interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that the Trek TCP stuff, right? That's in like a ton of software and devices.
I think so.
Custom IP stack, and you had to,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a custom IP stack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 30 years old, forked many times, 15 different versions, 2 different subsidiaries, one in Japan, one elsewhere.
Who all they've sold it to over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
Had no idea. Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder how many more software types and bundles and systems out there that are just like the Kaseya's and the SolarWinds of the world that people just don't know about, but they're running.
Right.
Or critical infrastructure, like all the banks use the same, software, and because that's just the industry that uses that software or whatever. And, some poor bastard on a Friday is going to get screwed. So, yeah. So, I think the response was not good there from Kaseya. I think there's definitely lessons learned there, not to potentially extort people if they don't like NDAs, and just give the key out, because that's that's $70,000 or $70 million that you're gonna lose. So,
at least they didn't make their customers pay for the key.
Well, aren't they? What's going to happen when you get the key to decrypt all of your stuff? Are you going to drop Kaseya, or are you going to continue using them, even though they did help you and give you the key? What does that look like?
What if you release the key publicly after they give it to you, but you'd sign the NDA? So,
what if that's why they signed the NDA? One, we'll tell you how we got it, but you're not going to tell anybody else. And two,
we're not going to tell you how we got it, and you can't ask any questions, but we will give it to you.
Oh, that's an even better idea. Yeah.
We're not telling you anything. We will send you an email with the code.
That's right. Oh, great. Yeah. Send the email from, that would be rough, but yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. The things that we have to deal with as companies and stuff. So yeah. All right. Well, I think we can probably call it good for this week. Miss Berlin, I know you're going to be busy in Vegas next week.
Yep.
Next week? When does
driving again? Leaving?
Why?
Because it's fun.
No.
It is. I promise.
No.
I'm going with four people this time, which is more than I've normally had.
Really?
And you won't have a knee problem.
I know.
Right? You won't be in a scooter.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, last year you were
that was like 3 years ago.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Last year didn't happen, and the year before that,
right.
Fine.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, we had 4 people last time we did it, and now we're gonna have 5. So soon we'll have a bus.
Okay, I was gonna
pick
say
up people on the way.
Yeah.
If you see a guy in a hockey mask with his thumb out, don't stop. Don't stop.
Aww.
Yeah, he's not a hockey fan. Okay, he's not a hockey fan. That's how bad movies get started. So,
all right.
So you're gonna have a room in Vegas, to a suite by Splunk. So,
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And then
are you speaking?
No, I will be on Who's Slide probably, as long as I make it back in time.
Right.
And DEF CON gooning, taking pictures and stuff. So
okay.
All of the normal things.
Cool.
We have a booth at Black Cat this year. Blue Merit.
Oh shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Are you a booth person?
I didn't even know we were going.
Oh, okay.
It's 2 salespeople, but one of them's a sales engineer, so he's pretty smart. I don't know. Okay. I'm sure the other one is too. I just don't know him. No, I'm serious. Like, I've never met him. I actually get to meet him tomorrow.
No, I was like, well, there's two people there. One of them is a sales engineer. He's pretty smart. I was like, oh, what about the other one?
I think he's a sales engineer. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've lost track of who's who now.
Oh. Well, you can see what the crowds look like and see how well they're doing by how many eggs they don't have thrown out. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a match, so I was just gonna like find my way to Blackhead.
Nice. Okay. All right. So if you're there, how will people get a hold of you or find you? Is it just go find them?
Yeah.
Good luck. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay.
It's hard meeting people when you're in DEF CON. Like even if you try and schedule something, you'll schedule it and then be pulled in another direction and be an hour away because there's 3 hotels in the middle of you and a whole bunch of gods. But yeah, it's find me in the hallways somewhere. I usually am always wearing my red goon shirt and carrying a camera around my neck. I've actually at DEF CON had people come up to me and be like, "Oh, I recognize your voice from the podcast."
Really?
Like, cool. Oh, all right, that's interesting.
Fantastic. All right. Well, okay. So this week,
I like to be known for. So
that's cool. Yeah, it's going to be somewhat cloudy, and it's going to top out on Thursday at 41°C, which is 106 degrees. So that's not too bad. It's not too bad.
It's a dry heat.
It's very dry. I actually enjoy Vegas heat. It doesn't bother me walking around out there, but yeah, it's actually going to be.
It's been like 90, 93 here recently with like 100% humidity too. So it's not great.
Same here.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you go to Vegas, go check out Ms. Berlin's suite at the Hackers Health Suite.
Yeah, we don't know where it is, but I'm sure I'll tweet about it at some point. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. And you're gonna. Oh, that's it. That's a Blue Team Con. You're gonna be doing a workshop there. So okay. Otherwise, how would people find you?
So on Twitter at InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR, or at Hackers Health, and
InfoSec Roleplay.
And InfoSec Roleplay. Thank you. Which I don't think is even tied to. We do have a website. You said something the other day about us not having a website. It's just a GitHub page, but it's something.
Oh, I didn't see it on your Twitter handle. Oh. Well, that's how you know you're legit.
And a logo. And a logo.
Well, hell, get you move up to Santa Clara and get you some VC money. You'd be all in. You're right there. So get you some angel money. Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Mr. Betcher, are you going to Vegas?
No, not this year.
I'm not beating my unbeaten. No, my unbeaten streak is still solid. I have not visited Vegas during the hacker cons yet. So I do understand the creation convention of Star Trek is the week after the 55th anniversary of Star Trek, the original series. So I hear the Shat's going to be there and all of them. Yeah.
Do you think that conference smells worse than DEF CON?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I can guarantee you there's no stank like hacker stank. You know what I mean? So, it's not even patchouli oil or whatever.
DEF CON is requiring mass and proof of vaccination. So if you go, make sure you have both vaccination and mass.
Yep.
In other news, I will be selling vaccination cards for $5 a pop. Oh, wait, my bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Scalp them mothers. It won't be hard. It will not be hard. There's enough people who have put their pictures of their vaccine cards online that there will be fakes.
Or you could just go get a vaccine.
No, that's too hard. I would rather, spend 5 hours photoshopping the perfect vaccination card.
Right. Yes.
Look, getting shot in the arm with a piece of metal is not a natural act. Okay. I don't like needles. I'm not a fan, but I got my fucking vaccine.
A million times.
I hate needles. Oh my God. But I got my fucking vaccines twice. So,
due for another tattoo. So
yeah. But wear your mask, Miss Berlin.
I will. I do everywhere.
Oh my God. Okay. Mr. Betcher, LogMD, how's that going? Is it still in development? Still actively being developed?
Still in development. Yeah. The log and malicious discovery tool. It's
Nice.
You can find more information about it on log-md.com.
Very nice. Okay.
We were actually talking about it the other day at work.
What?
Brian?
Uh-huh.
Oh my.
Well,
I know. I'm like, I know that dude.
Oh no. Oh wow. I kind of have an in on that.
He's just a text away.
Yeah.
That's right.
Any questions you have?
Very nice. Very nice. And of course, they can find you on Twitter at Betcherpwned, BOETTCHERPWNED. Cool. Yeah. Podcast, Breaksec, BRAKESEC. I'm on Twitter at Brian Break, BRYANBRAKE. And, I keep forgetting to do this on every show or when we do the outros during episodes, but we have a pretty awesome Slack community, and pretty awesome people. I'm just gonna throw some things out here. We have a threat intel channel that is got some really great stuff in there. I mean, people talking about things that they found, Twitter posts of issues that come up. We've got folks like Exempt in there with posting up cred harvester links. Paige, who we had on a couple of weeks ago as an interview, is posting up cred harvester links to various sites. Riot is also huge into that. They do such a great job with posting up things that they find in their own environments, which is very helpful and actionable to people. Riot posted a link to a threat list for firewalls at opendbl.net. BW came out with fishstats.info. So there's some excellent sites. There's some excellent articles. And, when I see any IOCs or anything on Twitter that I follow, like bad packets or whatever, I always try to post them up in there. But, there's a lot of great stuff in there that you may not get normally through your own threat feeds, or it may be a little faster. I mean, we're not telling you that that's definitely happening, but if you've got even a 5 or 10 minute jump on these kinds of things where you can load these bad URLs or bad links up into your blocking tools, then you might be heading off something, like mass scanning activity on a Fortinet VPN server from a 45.146 address in using the 2018 vulnerability there. So, I mean, there's a ton of great stuff on there. So I just like to thank all the people that help out in that channel, and all of our mods who help out with our Slack community. A lot of excellent discussion going on, even though Hallway Con sometimes turns into which pork rinds are the best. I have churro pork rinds that I enjoy, but if you want an invite to our Slack, you can always send us a DM on Twitter at Breaksec, or you can email us at bds.podcast@gmail.com. Thanks to all of our Patreons for their help and assistance in building community, making sure that, that we feel loved a little bit, by helping us with hosting costs and Zoom fees and such. If you can't, give money, because I know not everybody has the liquidity to do so. A 5-star review on iTunes is great. That gives us more visibility, and lets other people know that real people are actually listening to the show, and it's not just Mr. Betcher's Python scripts sending out bot stuff. So that's the important thing. The podcast will always be free. It's a labor of love for us, and we just like educating people. So we appreciate any reviews you can put out on all your favorite podcast platforms. And InfoSec Campout, end of August. We still have a handful of conference only tickets. We have no camping tickets left and no RV tickets. So we'll be camping outside. If you didn't want to go to Vegas and you still want to go to a nice little small con that isn't sponsored by anybody, check out infosecampout.com. We're in the Seattle area, and you'll have to bring your own tent and sleeping bag or sleeping bag. But yeah, we'll be outside. We'll be glamping pretty much. And if you're interested in doing that, we're not trying to be tour camp, but It's just a nice way of getting out and being in a nice small group in an open area and not in a big sweaty hotel. Anyway, shots fired. All right.
And the t-shirts looked amazing.
Oh, I wonder who made those logos for us because they are so good.
No, like I know, but like quality was really good. I like soft t-shirts.
Oh yeah, the shirts are not. I bought one of each because Miss Berlin made the logos. Yeah. And I got a nice purple on there. There's my wife made me get her one too, except I didn't get her the right color, but that's okay. So I've got 4 shirts. 3 of them are mine and one of them is hers. But I have one of each of the 3 logos, which is great. Nuka Bell put up a store for us, and we're very happy that she was able to help us out with that. And you can go check out her stuff on Nuka Bell. There's a link in the show notes. You can find that. So cool.
I think I'm going to work with her on more designs too.
You got some amazing art. You should definitely do that. We could definitely do some, you could do some stuff for Hackers Health. You could do something for, set up your own storefront with her, help out with that. So cool. All right. Well, I'm done for this week on breaking down security. We'll have an interview hopefully next week on some social engineering stuff. And then I'm going to be in Europe, folks. So I'll be in Rome for about a week, and then I'll be on a river cruise in Bordeaux. So, well, that's a region in France too, Burgundy. But Bordeaux is Bordeaux. It's wine country. Otherwise, it's just called red wine. So it is what it is. So. All right, everyone, have a great week. Be kind to one another. Mask up, please, because that Delta variant is not a joke, yo. And if you're going to Vegas, please, wash your damn hands, you nasties. And be sure to take care of yourself and everyone around you, because you're the only you have. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.